Well, but I mean, that's just the way movies are, though. But yeah, anyway, hi, everybody. We're live. Thanks for joining us.
Yay!
We're here with a bunch of my patrons and members, and we're hanging out and just doing what we're going to
Hello.
do for you, what we have just been doing with each other for the last few minutes, and just talk about
Top
whatever.
Gun Maverick was awesome.
Oh yes, like Rot Your Picture Show is amazing. Amazing musical. So fun.
I saw that, Joe.
Oh,
I've seen it 3 times with friends, so it's not like I've not given it a fair hearing. I think it's terrible.
Yes, but do you sing along?
Joe, I'm right there with you, buddy. I don't think it's terrible, but I do not get the appeal of it. Like I've watched it and been like, this is fine, but I do not for the life of me understand why it's become like such a cult phenomenon. You know?
The thing is, I think people, it's not even the movie that people really care about.
It's a live show.
It's
they
the
like acting it
experience.
out.
Yeah.
And
Like
that's
being
just not-
encouraged to throw things at the screen and like yell at the movie, things that we're
Yeah.
normally not allowed or not supposed to do.
See,
like you get to, act out.
and see, that's one of the reasons why I have never been remotely, attracted to going to a live showing of The Room, because the live screenings of The Room are very similar, where it's a lot of audience interaction.
And Steve likes to take his his films seriously.
The Room
He likes
definitely.
to take
The
them seriously.
Room.
The room needs to be absolutely silent.
The
We're
Room
all
definitely
focused.
does not
We're all
qualify.
paying attention.
Dana, I'm telling
The
you, one
Room
of
is
these
a
days.
masterpiece of unintentional comedy.
Yeah, one of these days, you and I are going to watch The Room together, and I just wonder how far we'll get into
Have
it
it as a
before you
watch
bail
along.
out.
Oh
I-
yeah,
I-
you need to start like a betting pool.
Yeah,
Before how long
I
before
need-
I literally get up and leave the
I
room.
need to start. Yes, I need to put on a stopwatch, because I think we did a video about this. We watched Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and didn't even make it past the opening credits.
Yeah,
And you said I can't. You said I can't watch
I
anymore.
can't.
I actually don't blame you on that one. I like all the Indiana
Which-
Jones movie,
yeah.
even the 4th one, but I understand
Yeah.
why people
No.
have their.
No, I agree. I like them. I have at least liked all of the Indiana Jones movies. That's another one where like the hatred for Crystal Skull was way over the top. Like I didn't think it was great. Like I get people saying that it's not great or not as good as the first 3. Like I'm totally there. But the people that were like tumbling out of the theater and ripping their clothes and screaming and crying, I'm like seriously, like it's like seriously, it was a kind of underwhelming movie. It's not that bad. It's okay.
I think what people dislike is that the Last Crusade was such a sort of perfect
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
capstone.
I agree there.
Last Crusade was the perfect ending.
Also,
It's the best.
though, Marion deserved better. Marion deserved better than that.
I'm pretty sure everyone who hated Crystal Skull as much as they did had last watched Last Crusade and not last watched Temple of Doom. Because
Yeah.
everything that is wrong with Crystal Skull is just as wrong in Temple of Doom.
See, I like
Thank
Temple.
you.
I like Temple of Doom. I still think
Yeah.
I think Raiders is the best one, and I think
Agreed.
Last Crusade is second place. So I mean,
Yes.
I would rank Temple of Doom in the in second division, I guess, for Indiana Jones movies. But like,
Because there's
But-
a third
but I
division
don't
of the
think
young
it's a-
Indiana Jones.
yeah, well, but I don't think. Well, now the some of the young Indiana Jones ones, the ones
Yes.
the ones with Sean Patrick Flannery, where he's a teenage Indiana Jones, some of those are pretty good. It's a little kid Indiana Jones, and I'm like, what are we doing here? What are we? What are we
Yeah.
up to?
Yeah.
Well, see, the thing is for me, like, the Crystal Skull doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned. That was that's in another dimension.
people forget it, too.
That's part of the multiverse.
That's part of the multiverse. That's not the same Indy. No, that's not the same one.
And so I put Temple of Doom of the 3 that actually exist. I put Temple of Doom at the bottom, but I still like it, even with the kind of infuriating and racist bits in it.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
But wait, here one thing. I was going to jump back real quick on what do you call
Rocky
it?
Horror.
Rocky Horror. Thank you. Because one thing that pisses me off about most like again, people like it. I don't care. Enjoy. But one thing about that movie about not so much the movie, but about the way people act with the movie that pisses me off is that okay. It's predominantly a white audiences, acting out and they're having fun. That's wonderful. But when I hear white people talk about black people at movies,
Oh
there's
yeah.
always a lot of, oh, they can talk at the screen, they yell at the screen. I'm like, well, yeah, but what about this? And you don't say shit about those guys.
Yeah.
What?
That's a
Yeah.
fair point.
See,
Yeah.
there you go. There you go. That's my white privilege because I didn't know people said that. I'm
Oh
like,
God, yeah, all the time.
Yeah, they do.
Heard
Yeah,
that.
it's
That's
been-
never been. That's never been my experience, but I
Well,
definitely.
and mind you, if you go to a theater that's predominantly, well, I don't know about now, but I know way back in the 80s and 90s, if you went to a theater with a predominantly black audience, people would sometimes yell at
Yeah.
the screen and say stuff.
Actually,
I have.
yeah. Actually, Dana, I guess you don't remember because I mean it's been like a long time ago. But you and I went to see Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon together in a theater in Philadelphia, and it was maybe a half white, half black audience. I didn't take like a census or anything, but just there were a lot of black folks in the audience, and there was a lot of talking back to the screen when at that screening too.
Right. So white people complain about that.
I don't remember it at all. Like we were talking about this with graduation. Like I don't remember my high school graduation at all. Like I know that I graduated,
I do.
but I have no memory of it at all.
True.
None.
Dana can Dana answer this question? Does she remember? No, she can't answer that question.
No, I can answer that question. No, I don't remember.
No, I don't remember. She can't
No,
answer the
that's
what
a
happened question.
I can answer that. No,
Right.
I don't.
Right. I don't remember is an answer.
Yeah.
True, that's true.
Isaiah, your hands up. Yeah.
Hey Steve, do any of you guys own any like Star Trek comic books?
I have some trade paperbacks.
no,
I don't
sorry.
have any. I don't think I have any like original like monthly issues, but I have some trade paperbacks of collections of a bunch of them. Yeah.
I used to.
I got the I think this is 6 Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country. I got it from
Oh,
my
yeah.
mom.
Nice.
That's
Rise,
very cool.
heaven, and
I don't know.
let
I don't know how many of you
Oh.
are familiar with the animated series from the early 70s.
Mhm.
But,
We are.
I wasn't born yet.
Yeah. So
Well, same here, too.
I am. Yes, that's right. I am old. So having being an oldian, I actually owned at one time, although it was lost to history. They actually put out a companion to the animated series. Was actually some phonograph records with comics to go with them.
Oh, nice.
Oh, neat.
And I had one, and I don't think this was actually an episode that was on TV. I think what they do, they were supplementing the animated series with comic books and audio to go with it, and that was really cool.
Yeah, that does sound cool.
Matt, you have your hand
Yeah,
up.
Matt's hands
go
up.
ahead.
Yeah.
Make sure you're unmuted.
Unmute yourself, Matt, if you're going to talk.
Yes.
There we go.
I have some comics there. The board one is pretty fun. Like there's a whole series of like Mirror Universe set in TNG era. Those are so nice. And there's even a Voyager spin-off as well. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, they did a lot more with like because I remember because in the Mirror Universe in the shows, the TNG never did a Mirror Universe episode, and then when when Deep Space Nine did their Mirror Universe stuff, they changed things around in the Mirror Universe to suit their show. So you couldn't really have done like the Mirror Universe version of Captain Picard. In that version would have probably been like an ore miner somewhere. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't like a Mirror Universe like the Empire had been destroyed by that point. So but they ignored that and did their own version of that like in the comics and the novels. And I think some of that predated those Deep Space Nine episodes too. They did like the TNG version of Mirror with Captain Picard with his all ripped with his uniform with the sleeves cut off, and you know what I mean. Like some of that stuff was fun.
No. C0626. And by the way, hello everyone in the live chat. Yes, my hat is nice, and yes, I look dressed up because I am some noble geek right now. But like C0626 said, like Janeway with guns. Oh yeah, that would I actually would see. That would be a Voyager episode I would see. But like, serious mind, your hand is up.
Yes, your hand is up, my friend.
Oh, and he's away from the screen right
gone.
now.
He's gone. He's taking a smoke break.
Okay.
But no, the Mirror Universe in Star Trek is one of those things where it's like it works better as a joke
Yeah.
The more they take it, the more they try to take it seriously and present it as like, you know, something that we're supposed to get invested in, and like we're supposed to care about what happens to the mirror versions of other characters. Like, seriously, it's a joke, you know. So
Well,
anyway,
to me that's unfortunate, because I think, you know, the episode Mirror Mirror was really cool, and was serious. But one thing I was saying, I wanted what I was going to bring up was we were talking a little bit before about, you know, things that are either made for children, directed at children, versus family friendly.
Right.
So I watched somebody doing a review of the Transformer movie from the 80s.
Oh,
the other day.
yeah.
And it reminded me. So when I went to see that movie, everybody in the theater was either 16 or 8. So, I was 16, so it was me and my friends. We were all 16, and then there were 8-year-olds with their parents, and that was it. There was nobody older. There was nobody in between. It was
right. Well, because I guess it was like Transformers early adopters, and then it was, I guess, kids who had just started watching it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think I ever saw that in the theater. I think I didn't see that till it was on TV. Because I think that was they did a deal with that where like it came out in the theaters, and then like the following year they kind of serialized it on the TV show. Yeah, and they broke it like they did with the He-Man movie.
Right. Well, one thing I found out, and I didn't know it at the time. You know, I was 16. What did I know? But the reason why they did that movie, or the way they did that movie, was they wanted, you know, they felt that the characters they had were played out and they weren't selling enough toys. They wanted to put out new ones, so they killed off a bunch of characters so they could introduce new ones. And I'm like, oh man. What? They killed off all the people I liked.
And ironically, the what do you call it? The outcry at those characters dying caused a renewal of interest in those old characters, and they started selling well again.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why they ended up bringing back Ghost Starscream, which I've always thought was hilarious.
He's a robot, but he's a ghost.
That's right. Megatron blew Starscream away, which was satisfying watching it. But then after it was like, but damn, I like Starscream. You know, he's an asshole,
what have you done? Well, I think the thing is like, oh, and you're going to keep doing the show.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
if they kill off Starscream and that's it. Well, it's like, okay, that's perfect. What a great ending. But if it's like, wait a minute, so you killed like everybody's favorite bad guy, you know.
And Optimus Prime, don't forget that.
And Optimus Prime, by the way. Although I have to say, I'm a Rodimus Prime stan. I like Rodimus Prime.
No, yeah. Everyone hates Rodimus Prime.
Everybody hates Roddy. I thought Roddy was fine. I mean, I get why everybody loves Optimus.
Michael Bay movies.
Well, wasn't he voiced by the same voice actor though?
I have to look that up.
Rodimus and Optimus?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they were. I'm pretty sure they were different voice actors.
They were different voice actors.
What do you guys think about the Michael Bay movies? The Transformer Michael Bay movies?
The first one was okay. The second one was absolutely terrible, and I haven't seen any ones other than Bumblebee. However, I want to see the one where they go into like medieval Scotland or something like that to see Drunken Merlin in the Transformers movies, because again,
Transformer movies were all hot garbage.
Yes,
I've only seen the first one, and that was just for late seating. The previews made them look so ugly. Not just the Transformers themselves, but just the look of the movies. Like the movies, they just look ugly.
They get worse.
By
the way, they get worse because Michael Bay, that whole. Again, because like in the later ones where Mark Wahlberg's in them, he kind of goes back on that weird like working man trope where it's a working man with like his daughter. He has like he like owns his daughters. Oh god.
Yeah, there's a lot of really weird. Michael Bay there's a ton of just really weird like retrograde, like 1970s and 80s style sexism in his movies.
He's not the only one, but
he's not the only one, but yeah.
I will say there is a worse movie that he made than Armageddon. That's Bad Boys 2. Bad Boys 2 is horrible.
Okay, yeah.
I would rather watch Armageddon than a space movie.
I saw I haven't seen the whole thing, but I've seen bits and pieces just from having it, you know, be on TV every once in a while. Pain and Gain. Which was supposed to be like his change of pace movie, you know what I mean? Like it's not like a big blockbuster action movie. It's like this character based like comedy thing based on a true story. And all I kept thinking was, well, because I read a review of it, and at the time it came out, and the review said, this is a film made by a director who hates his characters and hates his audience.
Yes, exactly.
And as I was watching it, I was like, I see exactly what you're talking about. Like the movie is about dumb characters that the filmmaker thinks are dumb. And he wants us to think it's just a really weird thing to make a movie about characters that you as the director don't like, and you want the audience to not like them too. And you just watch them do stupid things. It's like, it's kind of toxic. It's like, hey, let's all laugh at these idiots. And it's like, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to? It's like watching an episode of Hoarders, where it's like, should I be watching this? Should I be watching a mentally ill person? Like,
it's like watching a Coen Brothers film without those scenes that actually humanize them.
Yeah,
but the characters in these movies, it's like it's supposed to be this version of what men are supposed to be: dumb, stupid, violent, sexist assholes, and that's not what every man is.
No, well, the Coen Brothers thing is an interesting comparison there. It's like if you imagine Raising Arizona if the Coen Brothers had hated those characters.
Yeah, exactly.
And instead of thinking of them as funny and kind of having redeeming qualities, thinking of them as kind of they're weird and out there, but they're very sympathetic. But imagine if the Coens had said, "Look at these assholes! Don't you hate them? Look at all the stupid, hateful things they're doing. God, they're so stupid." And like that, and that was the tone.
Oh, and Michael Bay can't even direct a historical movie, right? Look at Pearl Harbor. Look at that.
Oh God.
We've had a couple. We've missed doing that one on Late Seating a couple of times. Like that was in the mix when I picked the letter.
Do it.
It would be a great. I'll tell you what.
That would be all that fun.
It would be a great episode. It would be a great episode of our podcast, but I don't think it would be fun to watch the movie because.
Oh no! If you want to talk about a movie that where the characters, it's clear that the people making it have disdain for the characters, and of course you should because the characters are awful. The movie Fury. Oh my God! I watched that because I like military stuff, and these characters were so unredeemable that in the final battle, spoilers, they most of them die. But the thing is, they were these were the American tank crew, and they were such horrible people that I found myself rooting for the Germans.
Yeah.
And I'm like, then I get so pissed at the filmmaker. I'm like, you're making me root for fucking Nazis because these characters are so unredeemable that I want to see them die. That's how bad those characters were.
I'll tell you a movie I had that exact reaction to that surprised me that I did not expect is MASH. Because I had never seen.
Yeah.
I think I've mentioned before. I'm not really. I've tried the TV show a couple of times, and it's just never really worked on me.
That's fair.
And I had never seen the original movie, and we watched it a couple years ago for Late Seating, and I wasn't really. I mean, it's considered a classic. And I watched it, and I had that exact reaction where I was like, "This is just a movie about bullies bullying people."
Exactly.
Like that's it. That's the entire movie. That's what's supposed to be funny. Let's watch these bullies bully people, and that's it. They never they never have any kind of a change. There's never get any kind of comeuppance. Yeah. There's no growth. There's no comeuppance. It's just bad people mistreating other people for like 2 hours, and it was a really unpleasant experience. And
did you have to do it for the podcast, or did you do it on your own?
No, we watched it for the podcast. Yeah.
So you were stuck with the entire thing. Yay! Yeah. I'm so sorry.
I mean, it wasn't.
Damn it, Jason!
There's
Happy birthday!
I actually like rolling.
Oh, that's
actually.
It's hard to say your connection was really bad at that moment. You actually like what do you? Oh, the Roland Emmerich Godzilla movie. That's what you're saying, right? Connection is bad. Isaiah, come back when you like.
Anyway.
Well, see, real quick about MASH. See, what's funny? I love the series, but the movie I've seen it once full straight through, and it's amazing how different the series gets. And actually, I could see if you watched MASH from the beginning, I could understand you not liking it. The show, the last 5 or 6 seasons are dramatically different than the first 5 seasons. And there's like a turnover in the middle there. And the biggest thing was once when you got Sherman Potter come on, and then you had
DJ
Charles
Honeycutt
Winchester come on, and the tone of the show changed, and they instead of just being kind of like, there was kind of messages in the earlier ones, but they were kind of just when they really started making it more about, hey, war is bad, and here's people trying to cope with a really bad situation, and the growth they actually go through, the characters actually start going through growth. It was so much better show. So I can understand if you didn't like the early stuff. If you were inclined to give it another look through, I would probably start with season 6.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I might give it another watch at some point. I'm working my way through a bunch of different shows now. I'm in.
You have a list.
I have a list. I'm actually I finally got back to Doctor Who after years. Like I watched the
Christopher Eccleston.
I watched the Christopher Eccleston season, and I watched like the first episode of the first David Tennant season, and then I kind of got away from it. So I'm partway through the rest of the first David Tennant season now. I'm not watching it every day. I'm watching it here and there as I find time.
Yeah.
And it's enjoyable. Like I'm enjoying. So, but when I get and there's a ton of that ahead of me. So whenever I get through that, I'll look for something else to watch. But
how willing are you to watch some classic Doctor Who, but only like 1 or 2 serials?
I would be willing to check it. I watched a little of it back in the day because they would always have it on late at night, like on public TV, like the Tom, mostly the Fourth Doctor episodes, the Tom Baker episodes. That was almost all that they showed. I think I might have caught like 1 or 2 episodes of one of the later Doctors,
right?
But it was almost all the Tom Baker stuff that they showed on like late Saturday night. So I've seen some of it. It's neat. Like I like that sort of low budget shot on video aesthetic that the BBC shows had in the 60s and 70s.
It needs writing though, because like if it has bad writing, what do you have to replace it? Cheesy special effects, which sometimes they were good for their time, as it were, and then overacting galore, which is sometimes great in like a performer like Tom Baker or like any of the other Doctors or John Pertwee and stuff like that. But like if it's just that, the show can drag. So Pirate Planet, one of the series that's written by Douglas Adams, is great. Ooh. Yes.
Yeah, I have they did a 1960s Sherlock Holmes series on the BBC too that was like a similar sort of production mode where they would shoot the exteriors on film and they would shoot the interiors on video to save money, and so you'd get that transition of they're at 221B Baker Street and it's Holmes and Watson hanging out, and it's clearly shot on video on a soundstage and there's no fourth wall, and then they would go out into London and all of a sudden it's on film.
I did notice that.
I kind of like it. I kind of like it.
I kind of like it. This is kind of like nostalgic for the classic TV shows.
Yeah. Isaiah, your hand's up.
Yes. What movie do you guys like to watch just for dumb popcorn movie? Because I think my favorite is Godzilla, the 1998 Godzilla.
Okay.
The
Roland Emmerich.
Roland Emmerich, and who's the guy? Matthew Broderick.
Matthew Broderick. Yeah. That's a lot of fish.
With his fucking backwards like cabbie hat.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Okay. So,
I know a lot of people didn't like that movie, but I thought it was okay.
If you like a Roland Emmerich style disaster movie, then yeah, sure. Just like because I enjoy Stargate and I still enjoy Independence Day. The sequel sucks, but then his later films, like The Day After Tomorrow, they're outrunning super cold. Okay.
I did. Well, speaking of Roland Emmerich, I actually wanted to write a movie script about, like me as a character that helps Roland Emmerich on his Independence Day movie making miniatures. So I wanted to write like a heartwarming story about like if I was able to like go back in time to like 1996 and like make the miniature cities that he blows up in Independence Day, because I'm really good because my character has autism and he's very good with his hands and details, and I wanted to write like a story about me somehow going back in time and being able to work with, showing Roland all my model work and stuff, and him cool. Like I don't know, like it's I want to be like this, not romantic, but like very like I don't know what's the words for it.
I have a fun story with The Day After Tomorrow. We had a friend whose 21st birthday we decided to do a big party for, and we had her choose the movie. And we joke about, the first time she drank, made a lot of poor choices, thinking to go to The Day After Tomorrow for her 21st birthday.
Oh my god!
Oh god!
So, me and my brother actually bought it on our parents on my dad's credit card, because this was back in 2003, where you had to buy shit to watch it,
remember those days?
Those are still here in some cases. Yeah,
you had to actually pay money to watch that specific thing instead of just subscribing to a service.
See, right. I was just looking at the list of Roland Emmerich movies, and I've come to the conclusion that Independence Day was an aberration.
Yes, I agree.
Because all you need to know is the movie 2012.
Yes.
And these 4 words: the neutrinos are mutating.
Interesting.
I'm all about suspension of disbelief and all that.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about a fundamental particle of physics, yes. And you say you're taking a particle and then you're somehow throwing in biology.
Yeah. So they're producing new generations of neutrinos.
Actually, for my fan fiction late seating, I actually, Steve and Jason actually reviewed 2012 in the sense of how, on how the 2012 movie and the 2012 phenomenon literally, the grip it had on culture. So I did a fanfic episode on that.
I mean,
too.
how hard would it have been to release that movie in 2012? I mean, come on. Didn't it come out in 2011? I was why aren't you releasing this next year? What are you doing? What are you?
They wanted to release it early, because of Oscar season.
Well, and also in case. Did it come out in 2009? It was even earlier.
2009.
Oh my god! Yeah, it's what are you doing?
It's got to be in the future, right? It's
got just in case. Well, and just in case the world does end. You want to give the movie a few years.
You don't want to waste all that time making a movie. And
you don't want to miss out making all that money you could make in case the world ends.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly.
Once the world ends, how are you going to spend the money that you make?
Exactly.
To answer Isaiah Sateo's question, what is a movie that you watch it just because it's a fun, dumb popcorn movie, something like that? Actually, I enjoyed this movie and wouldn't mind watching it again. It's Michael Bay, The Island, because it's just think of it as a divorce of Michael Bay, but it's actually decently done as far as a movie, something like that. But along that same veins, classic action movies that kind of you can just enjoy for a big great action movies, but Schwarzenegger, Commando, a classic.
Oh boy,
okay.
Yeah.
And then True Lies.
All right,
True Lies, yeah.
Oh yeah.
True Lies is a good one. Yeah.
You know what movie?
Even if you want to stick with Michael Bay, what do you call it? The Rock is carried.
Yeah.
Welcome to The Rock.
Carried by Cage and
it's Sean Connery.
And it elevates it.
Sean Connery. Yeah.
And I think that's actually what the aberration of Independence Day is. It's carried by the charisma of Will Smith, the quirkiness of Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, totally.
And Bill Pullman. Everyone forgets about Bill Pullman, and they take him for
That's
Bill
right.
Pullman all the
He was
time.
the president.
What is everyone's view on Speed? Both
I love
Speed.
Speed.
I
love Speed.
It's not legal. I don't take it.
I like Speed too.
I think here's the thing. I think Speed is not a so bad it's good movie. I think Speed is a legitimately good action movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
I like it a lot. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Well, I haven't seen
the sequel's terrible. The sequel's terrible, and it breaks my heart to say that because Jason Patrick is in it, and I love Jason Patrick and think he should have been a bigger star. And Willem Dafoe is the bad guy, and Willem Dafoe is one of my favorite actors ever. But Speed 2 is terrible.
The thing that's goofy about Speed 2 is it's a boat, so it literally could just keep going in a circle as long as it got refueled.
Yeah.
Literally go around forever, or you can helicopter all the people off.
Yeah, there's all kinds of solutions to this problem.
I will say for me, it's not an entire movie. It's in Face Off, where he's wearing the trench coat and he's walking toward the helicopter. I don't even think Nicolas Cage is all that good looking, but the trench coat billowing in the wind is like, damn, that's fine. I want one of those. Also, and like a very large fan off camera.
Yeah, sure,
yes, exactly.
Face Off is good.
What do you call it? I can't think of his name. The other guy in that movie.
John Travolta.
John Travolta.
Yeah.
Walking into the church with the doves going. Oh,
yeah.
There are so many great like shots in that movie.
Face Off is a great,
That was John Woo,
popcorn
right?
movie. The Face Off is fun until they get close to the end and you get the boat chase that never ends. Where then I saw Face Off in the theater, and I remember I was kind of enjoying it up until that point. It's like a big goofy action movie. It's ridiculous, but it's well made, and has some really good shots in it, and it's fun. And then it's like, how long have they been on this fucking speedboat?
Don't they have to pee? I have to pee.
It's like why are they spending so much time on the boat?
Diapers.
What is everyone's view of the John Wick movies? I never got into them. I thought they were just kind of too violent for me. I don't know.
Hey, Dana, 2 words: Texas catheter.
Again, they're real men.
I don't go into the movie anticipating that. Like, you go before you get into the theater. It's like, even if you don't think you have to go, at least try.
No, the John Wick movies. I have not seen the first one where they killed his dog. So, but I've seen the sequel and the third one because they still have AMC stubs actually. So that's how I saw them. And no, I thought they were great. So great action movies. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've only seen the first one actually, but I thought it was excellent. I mean, yeah. And I also in terms of like relatively recent, I mean, we're talking like probably 10, 15 years ago now, but relatively recent, like big time action movies. I really like the Taken movies, especially the first one, but the other ones, the other one, they get dumber and dumber as it goes, but they're still enjoyable. And the first one's kind of dumb too, but it's like, it's well made. It's like, before this, Liam Neeson was kind of a serious actor, and then they were like, no, we're going to make you a huge movie star. We're just going to make a movie that's all about you killing people. Okay, you're going to just fucking kill people for an hour and a half. And he's like, okay, I'll do it. And it's like the biggest movie he ever made.
What did you guys think of the Fast and Furious movies?
I was an actor once. Now look at me, damn it. Look at me.
I was Oscar Schindler, goddammit.
I was Oscar Schindler. I was Dark Man.
Fast and Furious.
That's so good.
I was Patrick Swayze's brother in Next of Kin. Remember that?
There were 5 curtain calls.
Hey, I remember Liam Neeson in Kroll. That's stupid.
Hey,
he was.
That was a classic movie, though.
He was Gawain in Excalibur.
Yes, and
that's right.
And he was in the best movie from 1995 about characters in kilts, not Braveheart, Rob Roy, which is a great goddamn movie that everybody forgot about because that was the same year as Braveheart. Rob Roy is better than Braveheart in every way.
Okay.
Wasn't he also in? There was, I forget what the name of the movie was, but it was basically about the Irish Civil War.
Yes.
Gangs of New York.
No, not get. Well, no, he was in Gangs of New York too, but no.
Oh, I know the one you mean.
Michael Collins. Yes, Michael Collins.
Okay. Yeah.
Which, I mean, he's Irish, so I mean, it would have been like a sin not to have the movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But hey, he was also
he played Michael Collins.
Yes, he did. Who else are you going to get Liam Neeson to play in Michael Collins?
I mean, the Irishman was also Ra's al Ghul in Batman Begins. I agree with you. Batman Begins is not a great movie.
The famously Irish Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul, the Middle Eastern warlord. Sure, okay.
Give Ken Watanabe a bigger role. He's a better.
I know you want to have like a twist and whatever. Just let it be Ken Watanabe. Jesus Christ, he's right there. The fucking you have it set in the Himalayas. Like he's ethnically appropriate, or at least in the ballpark. Like I don't think he's actually Nepalese, but he's it's the right region at least.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna have it really be the Irish guy.
We're just lean into it and have the character called the Ra's al Ghul.
I actually have a friend named Ken Watanabe who's not at all an actor, but
yeah.
Love me some
see.
Ken Watanabe.
Speaking of other dumb
Has
action
anyone's-
movies,
okay,
the
Last
Transporter.
Samurai.
The last Samurai not done an action movie. I enjoy it, but it's white savior movie,
Yeah.
as it were. And Ken Watanabe's in it, and it's great, absolutely. So like, I enjoyed that. It's just that Tom Cruise is not the last Samurai. He should not be the last.
I love Paul Mooney's review of it, where
Mhm.
he's like, "You made a movie called The Last Samurai, starring Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is the last samurai."
Yes. It is. But like another dumb action movie, Jason Statham's The Transporter. The
Yeah.
Transporter 1 and 2. It's
I never
just like,
seen it.
I recommend it if you enjoyed like Taken or other dumb
If
action
you-
movies.
And if you enjoy them dumb and like Jason Statham, might I also suggest Cranked and Crank 2?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, and John Burns in our call chat here says Big Trouble in Little China. Absolutely.
Oh,
I
I
like
need
Russell.
to rewatch that.
I would
Big Trouble
say
in-
dumb action.
You know,
dumb action
one
movie
I-
for me would be Under Siege.
Yeah, Under Siege is a good one. Probably
Yeah.
the best
one
Steven Seagal movie.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen that is definitely dumb and definitely actiony, and there's a lot to choose from that I haven't heard anybody mention.
Go for it.
Fast and the Furious.
Yeah,
No,
Fast
no,
and the
How
Furious.
did you miss those?
Isaiah asked, "Have we seen any of the Fast and the Furious?" We just haven't answered, and I have not
Well-
seen any Fast and the Furious yet.
I don't know
Actually-
which ones I've seen. I've seen, I think, 2, maybe
If-
3. It's hard
Yeah.
to tell.
If
They
the
did-
last
they
one
did
doesn't have them racing like cars on Mars, then I just feel like it's a wasted opportunity.
Well, Dane. Actually, I'm glad you brought it up because I was literally just about to bring up what it's a offshoot. It's a side project from that is was
Hobbs and Shaw?
Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
With
Dwayne
Jason
Johnson
Statham and The Rock.
and
Yeah.
Jason Statham.
Yeah. And I like that movie, and I really liked a lot about it was because obviously you know The Rock, he's like black and also
Samoan.
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 Yeah.
And so they actually have them go to Samoa, and they're actually doing like some Samoan culture stuff, which I was really cool. You know, thought was really cool. And they did, and it wasn't like the white people version of what Samoans do. It was actually the Samoan people version of what Samoan people do.
Yeah, no,
How about that? You
Yes,
get
Cars on
Connor.
Mars. That the last
Cars
Fast
on
and Furious
Mars. Yes.
should be
Fast
called
and Furious
Cars on
7,
Mars.
Cars on Mars.
Cars on Mars.
Well,
you guys seen
I've always felt there were so many of them. It was like it was
9.
the early 2000s version of Police Academy, except not funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I
Nice,
agree.
nice.
Also, more explosions.
Yeah, oh yes, very more explosions and like. Would Fast and Furious be considered a comedy? Because Police Academy was definitely comedies.
I mean,
were.
it's some of it
trying.
definitely. Some of it definitely falls into unintentional comedy.
In
I
both
think my-
cases.
One of my favorites, because I mean, as far as like popcorn movies and movies, I mean, The Room is pretty close to it for me, honestly. The Room is a
Yes.
movie that I can watch like at the drop of a dime at pretty much any time and enjoy the shit out of it. But I love dumb action movies too. You know, I mean, we did my birthday podcast this year was Roadhouse. That's legitimately one of my favorite movies.
But Patrick Swayze, come on.
Patrick Swayze. I love the Swayze holy trilogy of Roadhouse and Point Break and Dirty Dancing. Those are like those are all, you know. But but I also
Red
love
Dawn?
Ghost?
Ghost is one of the few Patrick Swayze movies that I really don't enjoy.
Oh,
Probably because there's not enough Patrick Swayze in it.
Oh, okay.
I
fair enough.
need more Swayze. But they also I really love in terms of like just dumb action movies. I love Chuck Norris movies from the 80s and my favorite of those, and I just watched it again a couple weeks ago right after I watched Roadhouse for the podcast, is called Lone Wolf McQuade, where he plays a Texas Ranger, not Walker. This is pre-Walker.
Yes.
But he plays a legendary Texas Ranger, and there's a scene where he gets beaten up by the bad guys and locked in his truck, and then the truck is buried, and he wakes up in the buried truck, pours beer over his face to wake himself up, and then drives the truck out of the hole that it has been buried in. It is the dumbest, most preposterous thing I've ever seen, and
Yet
I love
it's
it.
perfect for
And it's
that
perfect.
genre.
It's perfect. Yeah.
CO 626 has an important question. And Tu Wong Fu?
I like Tu Wong Fu.
I enjoy it too.
I mean, it's you know, it's it's one of those movies where Patrick Swayze, he wanted everybody to remember that he could act, because
Yes.
he kind of got into like an action hero kind of thing for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, and I mean, like Point Break is a good movie, but it's also like, it's a very, you know, it's an over the top action movie. And it's like, and Patrick Swayze was not a bad actor. So I think he did to Wong Fu to be like, you know, I can act too. I'm not just a sex symbol or an action hero.
Look, I can't help that I look gorgeous, okay? I also have skills beyond
I'm an actor.
beyond making myself look absolutely amazing.
Yes.
I have
Although
skills in addition to that.
indeed. Indeed.
John Burns is in our like our Zoom call chat and has a couple of like also like recommendations. They Live. I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum and bubblegum, and that was totally ad lib. Rowdy Rock Piper just like said like it was given directions from John Carpenter. Okay, you're here to rob a bank. You're here to save something or pretend to rob a bank, but you're not going to rob a bank. So you stay in line to get everyone's attention. I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum and bubblegum. Cut. That's a take. Like that. The last action hero I have not seen. I should see it. John Burns says he mentions like Eagle Eye. I have not seen it. I have seen parts of any of the state. I can definitely recommend that. But John Burns, I'm totally with you with Silverado, the Western movie with like with Kevin Costner and like Kevin Kline. Okay, so my mom enjoyed the movie A Fish Called Wanda, but absolutely hated Kevin Kline's character because he was such an asshole in that character. And to hear that he won an Oscar for A Fish Called Wanda, it was just like he must always play asshole characters then. My dad knew about Silverado and he showed her Silverado. Who was your favorite character in that one? Oh, it's like the main character one, like the sheriff, as it were. He's great as it were. He's played by Kevin Kline. No way! No way! My dad should have bet on my mom, but they wouldn't take it. But yeah, so my mom was surprised.
But they didn't like Dave.
I don't think
that's
they showed
double
Dave.
your Kevin Kline.
Right. Right.
He's all over that thing.
And actually, we're talking about like films. This isn't an action film, but it's one of those. It's kind of it's a goofy premise, but I think it's a really really great movie. Is Twins.
Yes.
The Schwarzenegger, the Governor, and then DeVito. I need to rewatch that because that was an interesting, fun movie. Yeah.
Twins is my favorite movie.
I was thinking about this and realized all my popcorn, or most of my popcorn movies are like kind of weird comedies, like Grand Budapest Hotel or Big Lebowski. The closest one to an action movie that I like will throw on kind of anytime is Run Lola Run.
Oh, Run Lola Run is such a good movie.
Not exactly an action movie, but she is running around a lot.
She's running through like the whole thing. Oh, Run Lola Run is such a great movie. Oh, I love that movie so much. Isaiah, your hand's been up for a while.
What do you guys think of Con Air?
Oh my God, another Michael Bay movie.
Yeah, I would put it in the similar. I would put it in a similar category to The Rock. Like it's like watchable, fun cheese, like watchable cheese. You know.
Yeah, because Cola Mealy is in it.
Why didn't you put the bunny back in the box, as it were? Or move, or the bunny gets it. Don't expect a great movie when you're watching Con Air. Watch it watch a terrible movie, but it's like entertaining in places, I should say. But
I love Con Air. Mm-hmm. Especially the ending scene where it's like we're gonna land in the Las Vegas Strip, even though the airport is literally right next door to the Strip.
You need an action set piece for the final piece. But speaking of like dumb movies that I think is the perfect party movie. Put it on at a party, and no, you don't have to pay attention to what the movie's happening. But every so often you look through the movie screen, it's like, what the hell's going on there? Flash. Gordon.
Flash Gordon. Yes.
Yes.
I love that movie.
Well,
Savior of the universe.
Yes.
He'll save every one of us. But
Yeah.
actually, Random Geek, the one that I was thinking of that makes for a great party movie because you don't have to care what's going on is Speed Racer. It's just so colorful. It's like, woo!
I still need to watch that one.
If you put that on a big enough screen, you don't need like lights for the party. It's just like,
It's a light show right there.
It's a strobe light. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
multicolored too.
The sad thing is you can't invite anyone who has epilepsy to that party.
Right. Like don't look over here.
Yeah.
Don't look over here.
Either that,
One thing that's kind of funny,
or watch it when you're high.
No, that too.
One thing that's kind of funny about Flash Gordon is that critics panned it and all this, but I mean didn't do all that well in the box office. But if you think about it, I mean, First off, Dino De Laurentiis. So we're not talking, some schlub director.
Right.
Max von Sydow is in it, and a bunch of other, good character actors are in it. Topol's in it, and
that one.
and everything. Well, everything looks kind of, cheesy, but that was intentional. They were trying to capture the look of the comic strips and the early movies. So it wasn't like they couldn't make it flashier. They chose not to. And when you look at it from
flashy,
that
isn't it?
right? And when you look at it from that perspective, you're like, hey, this movie's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
It's got Brian Blessed.
Brian Blessed.
Yes,
exactly.
Brian Blessed. Yeah.
Gordon's alive.
Squadron 40 died.
Brian.
Who can't
Blessed.
love that?
Yeah, exactly.
Brian Blessed, who also has a small role in another movie that I could watch at virtually any moment, which is Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Already gone.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I
Sword and King Richard. Yeah!
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and Jason and I. This is one of those movies that Jason does not understand why I love it as much as I love it. But it's one of those movies that, like, as soon as it's over, I could start watching it again. Like, I love that movie
just
so
for him
much.
alone.
Alan Rickman as the Sheriff of Nottingham is so good.
I think he between him and Morgan Freeman, they totally make up for the fact that Kevin Costner was a shit actor.
But listen, Kevin Costner, when he gives him that big motivational speech in the woods, like when he's up on the log, and he's saying, we should fight back against the sheriff and his men, and we should take refuge in the trees, and we can grow whatever food we need, and one of the old guys is like, but what about everything that they took from us? And the camera pushes in on Kevin Costner, and he looks down at him, and he says, "Then by God, we take it back." And I'm just like, yes.
I didn't find any of his motivational speeches motivating. But my favorite, to me, the best part of the movie was, the peasants aren't really sure what to do. It's like the final fight, and then Morgan Freeman's like, "Englishman, I am not one of you, but I fight.
Yeah.
I fight with Robin Hood," and you're like, "Yeah, get the
I'll fight with Robin Hood too, man." Yeah.
Has anyone seen JFK? Yeah. I saw JFK the other day. That movie was weird.
I know. I haven't seen that movie.
Is weird.
Yeah.
Really? I thought he died.
Well, he's not actually. He's not really.
That's true. It's okay. So John.
He appears only through archival footage.
Oh my God! The QAnon people were right.
Oh gosh. They're behind the grassy knoll. There's someone behind the grassy knoll. That's the original QAnon. That's the perfect analogy, honestly.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie, and it's a good sort of peek into the kind of thinking that conspiracy theorists do, because Oliver Stone is one of them. And like, you watch the movie. I remember watching JFK. It's like, okay, this is a really interesting movie. It's complete horseshit. Like, never for a moment do I believe that this is how it actually happened, or that there's any truth to any of this. But Oliver Stone is a good enough filmmaker that he can make it a compelling story. But it's like, no, it's not a documentary. None of this. This is all complete fucking horseshit.
And on top of that, you got John Candy in a non-comic role.
Yeah.
Oh!
And Michael Rooker.
That's right.
Michael Rooker, he's always great. But John Candy,
and Joe Pesci.
The cast is amazing. The cast is amazing. One of the great casts of that.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Tommy Lee Jones. Another one of my favorite Tommy Lee Jones roles is in another Oliver Stone movie. Natural Born Killers. He plays he plays the prison warden and goes way over the top. You know what I mean? It's like basically like a cartoon character. His hair is really big and he has like a mustache, and he ends up getting killed in a prison riot, and they put his head on a fucking stick. Like, it's just beautiful. So
Dante's Peak versus Volcano.
Tommy Lee Jones and Volcano. That movie. That's
a lot funner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Volcano, the movie that's called Volcano that has no volcano in it.
Yeah, because
they should just call it. They should have called it Lava.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of lava. There's no volcano.
I agree there. Yeah,
The volcano was in the La Brea tar pit.
It's underneath. Yeah. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, at least Dante's Peak had an actual peak in it. I'll
Yeah,
give it
exactly.
that much, you know.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, John Bernstein, you mentioned like a Die Hard, great movie with like Alan Rickman in it as well, but I think that's just like not a dumb action movie, but just a great action movie, period, as it were, because which is like, I guess it's like a interesting defining line, as it were, of like how is it like just a great movie that's an action movie, but then or just a good action movie that's a popcorn movie, but not a great movie.
I think Die Hard qualify. I think Die Hard would be like a good movie, not just like a good popcorn movie. I mean, it is a good popcorn movie, but it's not like it's not so bad it's good. It's just good.
Yes.
I would say.
Anyway,
I would
Isaiah,
say
you're...
No, I was saying. I saw in the chat someone said motivation of speeches in movies.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to say Independence Day, but that's a little bit too jingoistic. I was going to then like. There's quite a few. Remember the Titans had one. There was one in Remember the Titans, but Apollo 13 was really weird because that's basically what Gene Kranz was. Ed Harris, he was like a motivational speaker for no reason.
Yeah. Alec Baldwin and Glengarry Glen Ross.
Kevin Brandon and Henry V, but that's because that's a classic Henry V like
Put
monologue.
that coffee down. Coffee is for closers only. You call yourself a salesman, you son of a bitch.
The monster in Young Frankenstein, Peter Boyle.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, no. Put that man down. And that whole soliloquy that follows is awesome.
That was like a speech.
Has anyone seen Anaconda?
Yes, Anaconda.
The giant snake movie.
Great cheesy action movie. That fucking wink that John Voight gives when the snake eats him. Oh my god, he gives that little best John. Probably the last time I actually really liked John Voight in something. Because it turns out he's an insane like Trumper.
There's a reason that Angelina Jolie has like no contact with John Voight whatsoever.
Oh yeah, it's like as soon as he started talking about like how his love for Donald Trump, I was like, oh, I totally get it now. It used to be like, I wonder why Angelina Jolie and John Voight can't get along better. It's a shame that they're, and it's like, oh no, I get it. Never mind, I get it.
Yeah. I did like Tomb Raider was an okay movie. I did enjoy Tomb Raider. Speaking of Angelina Jolie in movies and action movies,
I think a lot of her movies have been good. She's a good actress. I mean,
it's all an actress. What was
Resident Evil? What's your think of Resident Evil?
I've only ever seen the first one.
That's the one I think I like the most. I've seen the second one, I didn't like that one. Seen the third one, it's okay. Seen the fourth one, and it's just like, did I see the fifth one? There is a fifth one. I'm trying. No, I did not see the fifth one. I see, and there's a couple of other like CGI ones that were just like on the fans of the games like know about like generations, which is okay. But it's just like there's not of the what I've seen. It's just like. I can't recommend it to people without qualifying it. That's the word, basically. So it's just like if you're not already a fan of Resident Evil or of zombie movies in general or horror movies, and I can't really recommend them as were.
Yeah, I thought the first one was pretty good, but I mean, not obviously not good enough that I ran out to see the sequels because I still haven't seen any of the sequels.
I do like the fact that this is that we're having a hangout, like we're having a big like late seating podcast. We're all just talking about movies, even though we have like a lot of issues going on in the country. I just like we're just sticking around with movies, and I kind of started when I talked about Top Gun Maverick. I kind of started it off. So
because that came out. I still have not seen the first Top Gun movie at all, and I still claim I don't need to see it. I've seen the anime version of that movie in Macross Plus the movie.
Honestly, I mean, the Top Gun. I think I don't know if I said this when we reviewed it in the podcast or not, but Top Gun is one of those movies that if you haven't seen it, and just for the sake of cultural literacy, just for the sake of having seen it so you can say you saw it, it's worth seeing for that reason, but on its merits as a movie, it's not.
So what is its cultural relevance? Like what has it granted? Other than the music, I would say you need to be familiar with the music.
The music, it's just the cultural relevance is just it's a movie that a lot of people have seen.
It's not referred to in other stuff. You don't have there's no touchstones. You don't have to understand it in order to understand other stuff.
If you want to understand the 80s, watch that movie.
There you go.
No. No, there are other. No.
Somebody might make a reference to someone singing "You've Lost That Love and Feeling," and you won't get it if you haven't seen Top Gun.
See, the thing is that
it's you've lost that love and feeling.
Yeah, but you won't get that specific reference.
But see, Dana, the thing is that it's so 80s because this is the Reagan era, and there was everything rah-rah military, and the movie really was just a big recruiting advertisement.
Yeah,
but it was it was actually very effective at that.
And it worked. Yeah,
it worked. It totally worked. Because it's Cold War. Because remember, this is the tail end of the Cold War, so it just kind of captures that. Now they never actually say it's the Russians, but they want to make a thing about it. But
I would argue that that's another reason not to see it. No.
Isaiah, your hand's up, and then after you make your point, we're going to start getting close to wrapping up because we're close to the hour. So go ahead, Isaiah.
I was going to piggyback off of what. I was going to piggyback off of what Serious Mind said. It's basically it's set in like the 80s. Yeah, sorry, it's set like in the 80s. It's meant to make the military awesome following the end of the Vietnam War, where people didn't like the military back in the. Yeah, it's the whole 80s pop culture one, the Cold War, Baywatch, like all this like overblown, over machismo, women, that whole like aesthetic. It was meant to prove to like the Eastern, our pop culture is awesome. That's why people in like Romania under Ceausescu like Dallas so much, because Nicolae Ceausescu wanted to show Dallas about how bad capitalism was, but actually the people of Romania actually liked it. Knight Rider was popular in East Germany, so Top Gun is like one of those movies that fits into this arc of Western culture, Western individualism. It's better than the command and the economies and the conformist views of the Eastern system. It's meant to emulate that.
Yeah.
Right, but I would argue that there are so many other options instead of Top Gun that illustrate those values or those cultural touchstones. I mean, there's plenty of like 80s schlock out there. We don't have any dearth of that.
There's another reason too, and I'm pretty sure that I mentioned this when we reviewed it for the podcast, but I might not have. But if I didn't, I should have. And there are other options for this as well, but Top Gun is one of those movies that if you've never seen a Tom Cruise movie, and for whatever reason you don't get why Tom Cruise is such a big movie star, why he's such a big movie star, and especially why he was such a big movie star in the 80s and 90s. Top Gun is really the only movie you need to watch, right? Because it with his star power carries so much of that movie. I mean, he is like, you watch that movie, you're like, oh, okay, this dude is a movie star, like, and not an actor, not like, but like, no, this is a movie star.
I would also.
Renee Zellweger says when they were filming Jerry Maguire, that like it didn't matter what the script said. When he said it, you believed him.
Right.
Like when he talked to you, she's like, oh, he really likes me. It's like, no, girl, he's acting. He's acting.
That's just it, though, because you'd mentioned there's other schlocky things. That's the thing, though. Top Gun was a very successful movie and was never perceived as schlock. And
it wasn't perceived as schlock at the time. Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah. At the time, yeah.
I would also add to Top Gun is also like a movie that people could watch that wasn't like that was about the military, but it wasn't like depressing, because at the beginning of the 80s it was all about nuclear war movies, and of course those are all really depressing. So let's make a Cold War movie where it's not the world gets blown up by nukes, but just make it where it's these like frat boys sticking around with airplanes, and it just has the naval aesthetic to it. The U.S. Navy.
It's also related to two actual incidents where U.S. fighters engaged, were engaged by Libyan fighters, and they were in both cases the U.S. Navy shot down the Libyan fighters.
So
And,
Gulf
you know,
of Cedar incident. I don't know.
It might not be depressing to you, but I mean, it sure was depressing to poor Goose's family. I mean,
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
guy-
but he wasn't the protagonist, so nobody
he
cares.
definitely wasn't the protagonist.
Mhm.
Anyway, we're at 1 o'clock. I'm going to call the festivities to a close here. So thanks everybody for joining me. As always, thanks everybody for watching. We do
Well,
this
hold on,
once
Steve.
a month. Oh yes.
What other YouTube videos you have coming up this week, as it were? Might as well advertise what you have coming up this week, as it were.
I have a video up tomorrow about why it's important to stick to the ending of a story instead of coming back and trying to write a better ending. And my examples that I'm using for that are the upcoming third season of Star Trek Picard, trying to give yet another send off to the TNG crew after they've already done that twice.
Oh my God, they had a perfect one.
Yeah, and also Ric Flair is coming back this summer to wrestle his last match, even though he did that in 2008. He's doing it again because why not? So that and then Wednesday. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to do a quick. Well, you finish what you're doing, but can I do a quick plug after that before you shut
Oh,
it off?
please, yeah, sure. John Burns has a good question in our chat. Why isn't Ric Flair in jail? That's a good question. Anyway, but yeah, so don't forget my Patreon, patreon.com/Steve Shives, or you can become a channel member by clicking the join button. Also, don't forget the charity links down in the description that Some Random Geek maintains for us to help out some friends of ours who need a helping hand. Dana and I will be back on Wednesday to do another watch along on Trek Reluctantly. We're watching Deep Space Nine this week, and the episode is Equilibrium, which is a Dax episode. And I think that's everything I need to say. So, Sirius, go ahead, say your last thing.
Yeah,
your last plug.
Plugs. So basically the crew of the Raven's Nest. Those of you familiar with Raven J, formerly Dev Shell 2, we are actually going to be the goddamn podcast tonight, 7 Eastern. So it's going to be called the goddamn Raven's Nest. And they invited us to be their show tonight, so we're going to do that.
Awesome. Very cool. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. And thank you all for being with me and for supporting my channel and being the awesome people that you are. And we'll see everybody to do this again next month.
Go watch a movie this week.
Yeah. Hey, that's a different show.
We talked about movies.
We talked about a lot of movies.
Hangout. So
exactly.
go watch a movie.
Go watch a movie this week. Bye, everybody.